I'm not stupid. I'm not defective. I'm not inferior. There is nothing wrong with me. My brain works differently, and that's fine. It's more than fine. It's a beautiful thing. So, guys, thank you for stopping by. In this video, I want to talk about a recent burnout episode that I had. And this was literally about 2 months after discovering that I have autism. When I experienced it, I realized that I'd always experienced it, but for the first time I was able to put a name to it. Like I mentioned before, I got to a point in my life about 8, 9, 10 years ago where I had a major chronic burnout episode, and that led me down the path to personal growth and development and paying attention to myself, basically becoming my friend, my best friend, getting to know myself, getting to learn how to take care of myself, what my needs are, listening to myself and learning to just help myself avoid things that could cause negative consequences for me, like, you know, anxiety, like mood dips, depression, etc. And to help myself do things or take care of myself in ways that would boost me, that would boost my emotional health, my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical health, and that would just help me develop in life, develop as a person, be in a positive state. It was slow but sure, and I kept getting results up until the point that I discovered I'm neurodivergent and I'm still learning about myself. Along that line, one of the ways I learned to take care of myself, one of the things I learned about myself is that when I spend time with people who I'm not used to, like people who are not my immediate family members, I have to behave in a certain way that is quite taxing to me. Of course, now I know that that's masking, and because of that, I run out of energy very quickly. How does that relate to my recent burnout episode? Well, like I said multiple times, I'm in school right now, and my school program is such that it has a work component to it. One of those like work attachment, student type, internship type things. And I was on one of those like 2 months ago. It was a Friday. Okay, so I'd been working because you work, right? You basically work, except you're not paid because you're a student on attachment there, and you are at the bottom of the totem pole. So you do all the grunt work that the actual workers who are actually getting paid for that work don't want to do, but then they make you do it because they're training you, whatever. I don't have a problem. I actually do not have a problem with that because I know that's part of paying your dues, and I know that in every profession that's just the way it goes. Even when I was in vet school, when we had to do like clinical attachments and all of that, that was basically the way it went. I was already, doing my stuff Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because that was the second week, right? I had started the week before. That was the second week, and so I was still trying to get into things, and so I was getting exhausted more quickly than I would have or if I'd started, maybe weeks before, because I was still adjusting. I was getting more exhausted, like much easier, and so it was a Friday. It was a Friday evening, and it was the end of my shift, and I was exhausted. And even the Thursday before that, like the day before that, I was already experiencing signs that I was getting exhausted, and it wasn't like the regular exhaustion you feel after work. It was the exhaustion of a burnout coming on, and you know the difference. Again, even though I had just realized that I had autism and that it was called burnout, I was already familiar with it. I just did not have the only thing I'd learned with learning that I have autism is putting a name to it. Otherwise, I knew that feeling, and I knew that I at that point when I was getting towards that point, I needed to find a way to take care of myself. Otherwise, it would get to something worse. Like I might start getting depressed, basically, or I might start struggling with anxiety in a way that I cannot control. And it can be a downward spiral from there. So I was already taking note of that. I was already trying to take things slow. I was already trying to take things easy. I wasn't jumping all over the place trying to do everything because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to be an enthusiastic student. I wasn't doing that anymore. I was just trying to pace myself, just trying to pace myself till the end of that Friday evening so I could go home and rest for the weekend. But for the fact that I was already getting exhausted, even on the Thursday, like the day before, it was already showing because my cognition was already, it wasn't at 100%. Again, I don't like talking about it like that because my brain has been my my best friend, my most cherished companion. Right? Even when I felt like I had nothing in here, this, no matter how much life tried to mess me up and manipulate it, this has always been my most trusted companion. So I don't like saying negative things about it, but you can feel it. You can feel it when your thinking is beginning to get slow, your memories begin to get wonky, and just your processing, the normally, yeah, fine, as people who are autistic, sometimes we have slight processing delays, but when that time begins to come close, you can tell that even the processing delays are much more delayed than normal, than usual. So I was already experiencing that, and my ADHD symptoms were beginning to come up. Like I was getting more and more scattered. I was beginning to forget things. I was just basically just holding myself together at that point. On top of that, and that this is one of the things I've realized about the burnout or shutdowns, you also have physical health symptoms alongside the symptoms of the burnout. Right. So physical health symptoms are a part of the symptoms of burnout. And at this point I was already feeling as if I had flu. I was fine, but I was already feeling like, I was supposedly fine. It wasn't like I had like flu or anything, but I was already getting that feeling. I was already getting running nose. I was already getting like slight headache. My body temperature was rising. Basically something I used to experience right from time, and I'd it had been a while since I'd experienced it, because it had been a while since I'd allowed myself to get that exhausted. I tried to take care of myself when I got home. I took antihistamine. I tried to sleep on time and all of that. So Friday came, it was already evening time, and then one of the staff sent me to go sign a document that she should have gone to sign herself, but again, I'm the student, so I get to do all their grunt work that they don't want to do. I'd never gone to sign that document before, because I always find ways to make sure I'm busy whenever they have to sign those documents. So they tell other like students to sign those documents, because I don't like, well, it's not like I don't like, but like, when you've lived your entire life trying to learning ways of avoiding things that have to do with interacting with people that are not completely necessary. You know exactly what I mean. So that when it was time to sign those documents, I would not have to collect the documents and then go to some office and then have to interact with somebody new that I do not know. I'm sure you understand what I mean. Like I said, I was trying to take things easy on myself, so I wasn't jumping all over the place, showing too much enthusiasm, doing everything. I was trying to pace myself, and because of that, because I was pacing myself and I had slowed down, I got caught and I was told to go and sign the document. And I had never gone to sign this document. I did not know what office it was. If up here, okay, if I wasn't close to a burnout, if up here I was 110%, which is where I like to be, if everything was copacetic, if my ADHD wasn't already taken over, I would have asked where exactly. I would ask questions, and the way I ask questions sometimes even gets irritating to people, like gets on people's nerves sometimes, because they think I'm asking so many questions. Like they feel like sometimes they say it. That's how I know. They think I'm asking questions that are obvious, like things I'm supposed to know. I ask, but I ask because I need clarification, so I don't go and make a fool of myself. And Lord, when you've experienced making a fool of yourself a lot of time, you know you never want to make a fool of yourself in that way. But that day, I was not 100%, and my ADHD was already taking over. So I forgot that I did not know where the office where I was to sign that document was. I forgot that I did not know who I was supposed to take it to. And so they just told me, oh, go within this vicinity, where you're supposed to sign it. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I collected the document and I just left because I really needed to just get moving. So then when I got to that visiting that general area, my thought was when I just see anybody, like when I just see any staff, I would ask them and they would be able to point me in the right direction, which is what anybody should do. But again, if I had been 100%, I would have reminded myself that people are rarely where you expect them to be, and people like being mean. And so you think if you're the one, it wouldn't be a problem. You'd be happy to show somebody the right office to go to tell somebody the right place to go to, the right person to meet. In fact, if you were, if you weren't that busy, you'd be happy to take the person there. Um, but other people they don't approach life like you, especially neurotypical people. Again, I don't like letting it come across as if I have a like vendetta against neurotypical people or anything. No, it's just that sometimes I just have to say, like, they've really made me suffer. They've really made me suffer. I saw this staff. I went to meet her. I greeted her. She greeted me back. Somewhere in me, I was like, oh, thank God she's in a good mood. So, like, for her to greet me well the way she greeted me in return, it means she's in a good mood. So I should be able to ask her. So I asked her that, oh, I was told to come and sign this document here. Um, and she didn't even let me finish. Like, that was all I said. Like, I was told to come and sign this document here. And she just went off. She was like, oh, do you think I'm the one signing this document? I'm not the one who signs the document. Like, I have my own job. I was like, yes, I know, but she's like, oh, so why would you come here? Da, da, da. And she went off. She went at me, and it was just a lot. It was just a lot. At the end of the day, she finally said, oh, you're supposed to go to this office to sign it. And I knew where the office was. So I was like, thank you. I took the document and I went to that office. I got it signed. When I was leaving, it did not occur to me to pass a different route. There was a different route. It did not occur to me to pass. I'm telling you, when this, like, even just thinking about it now is causing me like low grade stress. I don't know if you can tell. But when this is not at 100% because your burnout is coming on, then you just get exposed to so many humiliating things. And it's almost as if you allow yourself to be humiliated. It's almost as if you behave in ways that invite that kind of treatment. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's just what it looks like. So I went back the way I came in, and I met her on the way. I was going to meet her on the way. Um and she was like, I thought the courteous thing to do is say thank you before you go, because even though she was a jerk about it, she still told me the office to go and sign it. So I said, thank you, ma, I've signed it. She was like, no, no, come back here, come back here. You know the way these African Nigerian people behave, and they just feel like because they're older than you, on top of that because they're superior at work, on top of that because you're a student and you're at the bottom of the totem pole in that work environment, and they know you cannot really misbehave because you need a clearance form signed before you leave that workplace, which without that clearance form is as if you haven't done that work attachment at all. So you're going to, just be meek, and they can walk all over you and mistreat you, which is really unnecessary. And I just think that you have to be in a place where you hate your life and you're unhappy with yourself and you're unhappy with your life, or you're just a negative person in general, for you to want to create negativity for other people and for you to want to just put people down or mock them or say horrible things to them because they made a slight mistake. And what was the mistake I made? The mistake I made was I did not ask the right questions. That was the mistake I made. I know why I did not ask the right questions. You don't. And even if you think like this student is slow, or I'm pretty sure, it's not even that I'm pretty sure, it was basically what she was trying to say at the end of the day. Because she called me back and then she started asking me all these questions and then she started saying all these things to me to basically tell me that I'm not smart. That's what she was saying. That's a summary of everything she was saying. Like, you are not smart. I still cannot understand it. I really cannot understand it. And I cannot believe that it's getting me like even upset right now. I thought I thought I had gotten past it, but I'm getting really upset. So anyway, at first when she was asking me all these questions and talking to me, I tried to respond, but it seemed like every response I gave her more ammunition. to come back at me. It was like anything I said was not going to be good enough. It was always like she would see it as rude, or so I stopped talking and I just kept staring at her, and I would only speak in response to a direct question. And even then I had to take a few seconds to think of what my answer would be, because I had to consider that if I said this, would it cause any problems? Would she think I'm rude again? Or maybe I should say this. No, let me say this instead. And whatever, and then I'll give the answer and she would repeat the answer in a way that says I'm too slow with my responses. And that would stress me even further. And at the end of the day, she then asked me for my name and I told her my name and she said, oh, no wonder. Meaning that, there's a whole saying, or there's just a normal rhetoric that people who have my name are usually saucy or rude or whatever. That was basically what her response was saying when she said no wonder. And then she looked at me in a certain way and then she said, oh, I could go. And so I just turned around and I left. And it was horrible. And that was not the beginning of the downward roll, but that really accelerated the downward roll into that particular burnout episode. Like I said, it was already Friday evening. I was already struggling at that point. And so that experience, that deal I had with that woman just really made everything worse. It sapped my energy the way a vampire sucks the blood out of its victims. Rapidly, without hesitation, without remorse, I just crashed. And after that, it was already time, like the time was already over, like the shift time was over. So I just took my bag. I found my way home, and from that moment, it was almost like I crashed. I had the whole shutdown type thing, and my go-to is usually withdrawal. So I withdraw from people, from like, and I'm not just saying I withdraw physically. I mean, like, I don't answer phone calls, I don't answer text messages. I definitely do not make calls or make text messages when I'm in that withdrawal mode. It's like I just withdraw. I just go into a corner and I stay there and I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. Like, it's not something that I do on purpose, not something I plan. Like, I'm like, okay, I need to rest this weekend, so I'm not going to talk to anybody. No, it's just something my body, my brain demands, and I don't. It's not as if I see that there's a choice. It's just something that happens, and that's just the way it happens. Normally, when I struggle, I write in my journal. In this case, I was not even able to muster up the energy to pick up my journal and write. I kept looking at it and I was like, I should write in that. It would help me feel better and get rid of this negative energy that I feel trapped in here and in here. But I just could not even pick it up. It's really like it just shut down. Like, you cannot do anything. Like, the only thing you can do is to stand up to perform your bodily functions and then to find something to eat. And even the eating is very sparse. It's not like, the way you eat when you are in tip top shape. It's like, let's just find something to take for breakfast. And then you don't eat anything again till nighttime. And like, let's just find something to eat for dinner. It's kind of like that. And you're just there scrolling on your phone, trying to just take your mind off of things by watching different like videos on YouTube. You can't even commit to a full length movie because that seems like too much work. You cannot read. Read. What do you want to read? You cannot, like, you basically cannot do anything. And then the physical symptoms I had now worsened. Even though I was taking antihistamines, the running nose got worse. Like, everything was just going. The headaches. I was just sleepy. I slept a little bit. I woke up, scrolled on my phone, slept a little bit, woke up, scrolled on my phone. That was what I did the entire weekend. The entire weekend. It was when I got to Sunday evening. I'm telling you, from like Friday evening, the whole of Saturday was, dead. Sunday till evening before I started getting my energy back, before I could actually pick up. And when you break out of that shutdown slash burnout mode, it's like it's not like you tell yourself, okay, I feel a bit better now. Let me go and do all of these things that I'm supposed to do that I've been telling myself I should do the entire weekend, but I've not been able to do because I've not been able to get up. It's not, it doesn't happen that way. It's just that you just find that you get up and you go and do something, and then you get up and you do another thing, and then you get up and you realize, oh, I'm actually doing all these things. I was unable to do them as at yesterday. I was unable to do them as at this morning, this afternoon. So what's the difference? The difference is you are beginning to heal. And of course, normally when I get exhausted by the end of the week, by the weekend, the weekend is usually enough for me to be able to get my energy back and to, become functional again. But in this case, because of just how exhausted I was, and because I had gotten into a deficit state, like an energy deficit state, or however you want to put it, I, the weekend was not enough for me to get all the way back to 100%. It was not enough. So even until Monday, Tuesday, like I still had some of those physical symptoms were already leaving, but they were still there. Like the vestiges were still there, and that exhaustion, that grogginess was still a bit there. Like you can tell when you're not completely like sharp here, you're not clear headed. You can tell. When you're still slightly exhausted, you can tell. When you can tell. I don't know if there's a better way to explain these things, but you can tell when you're not completely there. And it took me till Wednesday of the following week before I felt myself come back. Right. And of course, by then I was already going to work, so that was draining me already as well. But I felt like, okay, I'm finally getting back. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience. But the thing is, like the thing I'm grateful for in that case is that unlike the previous times when I would experience something like that, because no matter how much you try to take care of yourself, sometimes it happens that way. Unlike previous times when I would experience something like that, this time around I knew it was autism. I knew it was ADHD. I knew what was happening, and I was able to show more compassion on myself. I did not tell myself I'm being lazy the way I used to tell myself in the past. I did not try to force myself to go beyond my capabilities the way I used to in the past, which would then make things even worse. And when that self talk came about, like it always used to, if something like that happens, that why am I so slow? Why am I so dumb? Like why am I so not brilliant? Why is my brain so slow like this? Why am I so dull? When that self talk began, at some point I was able to call myself back and say, you know what, I'm actually not dull. I'm not dull at all. I was just experiencing exhaustion. I was experiencing burnout. My brain was I was scatterbrained because that's just what happens when you become exhausted. And the only mistake I made was that I failed to ask the right questions. And people make mistakes, and people's mistakes are different, but we all make mistakes. And my mistake was that I did not ask the right questions. And I know why I did not ask the right questions. It was because I was exhausted, I was tired, and I was operating in a I'm still operating in a system that has not been designed for somebody like me. So I'm doing my best, and that's all that I can ask of myself. That's all any of us can ask of ourselves. And so I was able to show myself some compassion. I was able to show myself some empathy. And the woman that made me feel the way she made me feel, that kept going at me, and she kept looking at me a certain way and saying horrible things to me, that made me enter into that such a deep state like that. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if I'm being fanciful, but I've heard it from some people and I agree very much. I think neurotypical people can tell when you're neurodivergent. I think there's something in them that can tell that you're neurodivergent. They might not know what they are seeing, they might not know what their subconscious is trying to tell them. They might not know, but I think something in them can tell that you're different. And the mean ones among them, the wicked ones among them, will take that as an excuse, as an opportunity to be wicked to you, to be mean to you, to be unkind, even though they don't have to be. They'll try to bully you, they'll try to put you down, they'll try to make you feel just like you don't belong, like you're inferior. They'll try to make you feel inferior. And I think that's on them. It's on them. It has to do with them. It has nothing to do with me or with you if they're doing it to you. It has nothing to do with us. We just are. We just are. And I don't want to say we're fortunate or unfortunate to be in a society, in a world where the majority of the people are a certain way and they mistreat people who are not like them. But I know, in addition to that, that even though that's the way it is, that kind of thing where you observe that somebody's different and because of that you act wicked and unkind to that person, even though that person has done nothing wrong to you, that person hasn't hurt you or harmed you or anyone else in any way, and you choose to be unkind to that person, it reflects judgment upon you and not on that person. So I was able to tell myself while I was experiencing this that the fact that she was unkind to me in that way when I had done nothing to deserve that kind of treatment, nothing. She reflected judgment upon her and it showed the kind of person she is. It just shows that she's an unkind person. And as long as I am true to myself and I don't hurt somebody or I don't harm somebody, and I just try my best in what I'm trying to do. I try my best in school or in this stupid attachment that I was put in because I was the one who decided to go back to school, then it's completely fine. I mean, it's not fine that I have to experience what I experienced, but it is fine. It is all fine. And in life, there will be people who will be kinder than she is, and there will be people who will be much more unkind than she is, and it's completely fine. But I'm not dull. I'm not stupid. I'm not defective. I'm not inferior. I'm not dumb. I'm not slow. There is nothing wrong with me. There is nothing wrong with me. My brain works differently, and that's fine. It's more than fine. It's a beautiful thing. And if people see or don't see that I'm different and they choose to be unkind to me in whatever way, when I have spent my entire life trying to learn how to be good and kind to people, then that's not on me, that's on them. And the lack is in them, not in me. The lack is in them, it's not in me.